Caitlin Clark and Indiana Fever warned of huge disadvantage against Connecticut Sun. They've played every team. Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever are gearing up to step onto the court at Mohegan Sun Arena for a moment they've waited years for, their first playoff appearance since 2016. The Fever didn't close out the regular season quite the way they hoped, falling in a tight game against the Washington Mystics. But now the stakes are higher. Facing the Connecticut Sun, who finished third in the standings and have the advantage of playing at home, this is where the real test begins. Well, they have already received a word of caution before they go out for the first-round battle. Recently, renowned sports commentator Ryan Ruocco weighed in on the Indiana Fever's upcoming playoff clash with the Connecticut Sun. While he acknowledged the immense potential and fighting spirit of Caitlin Clark and her team, Ruocco didn't hesitate to highlight a key concern that could pose a challenge for the franchise as they head into this high-stakes matchup. Even though I think it's easy to say at this point, she's Caitlin Clark already the best guard in the league, she and Indiana are going up against the Connecticut team that has unbelievable playoff experience and playoff success. They play every team top in the playoffs. Doesn't matter who, whether it's Vegas, the Liberty, Connecticut always plays you top. I think you have to give them a little edge in the series because of that, stated Ruocco. It's no secret that the Connecticut Sun has been a playoff mainstay. They have made it to the playoffs for 8 consecutive years now, the longest active streak, even reaching the finals in 2022, where they fell to the Las Vegas Aces in a 3-1 series. Last season, they fought their way to the semifinals but were ultimately knocked out by the New York Liberty, this year's top seed. Though the Sun has yet to win a championship, their consistent playoff appearances give them plenty of experience when it comes to strategy and navigating the high-pressure moments of postseason play. Ruocco also pointed out a potential area where Indiana might fall short in their first-round matchup, shedding light on a key weakness the Fever will need to address. Caitlin Clark and Fever's challenges against Connecticut Sun in playoffs. Ryan Ruocco shared his thoughts on what to expect from the Fever in their upcoming playoff series, saying, "A little flustered, can look a little inexperienced and not think that in tight games that could be an area that Connecticut could take advantage of." The ESPN expert's comments about playoff experience really ring true when you consider that the Sun are making their 17th playoff appearance in just 26 seasons. Fever has made it 13 times in the past 25 years. But the real challenge here is that none of the Fever starters have made it to the playoffs before. Whereas all of Sun starters have postseason experience for no less than 4 years, except for Dijnoy Carrington, who will be making her 4th appearance this year. Moreover, with 4 of this lot becoming free agents after this season, it will be all the more of a drive for them to perform as a core team and finally make it after all the years of fail, as Rebecca Lobo earlier suggested on WNBA Hoop Streams. However, Ruocco previously highlighted a glimmer of hope for the Fever in their standout rookie. Caitlin knows how to handle it, and I think you're going to see something much different than what we saw when Caitlin started her career in Connecticut at the beginning of this regular season, said Ruocco. These Caitlin Clark stats prove that the Fever rookie should be a lock for all WNBA first team in 2024. Only 7 rookies have ever earned all WNBA first team honors. Could Caitlin Clark make it 8? Clark is a shoo-in to make at least one of the 2 all-WNBA teams. She faces stiff competition for the first team, though. The voting is done irrespective of position, so Clark simply needs to be considered one of the best 5 players in the league to make the cut. Caitlin Clark's case for first-team All-WNBA. Aya Wilson has been the best player in the league and is a lock to be a first-team selection. That leaves 4 open spots, and there are a number of talented players who will be fighting over them. With respect to great seasons from Kalia Copper, Jonquil Jones, Kayla McBride, Nneka Agwamike, and Eriko Gunbowl, the top contenders for those other 4 spots are Clark, Nafisa Collier, Brianna Stewart, Alyssa Thomas, and Sabrina Ionescu. Here's how their box score stats compare. Out of that pool of players, Collier and Stewart have probably been the second and third best behind Wilson. Both will be in strong contention for all defensive honors, and both have averaged more points per game than anyone else on the list. Their teams are also number 1 and 2 in the standings. Their cases are airtight. Clark should take that number 4 spot. She has been the best passer in the league. She broke the record for assists in a single game with 19. She also laid claim to the all-time season total with 329 assists. Clark's scoring is just as impressive. Her 19.2 points per game is the fourth highest total of that group. What makes that even more valuable is her true shooting. She's been the most efficient high-volume scorer behind Wilson. Making Clark's efficiency even more impressive is the sheer degree of difficulty with which she's taken those shots. Nobody has come even close to Clark's 227 attempts from beyond 25 feet. She has brought the logo 3 to the WNBA, and teams haven't figured out a way to stop it. She's also faced constant defensive pressure, getting double-teamed at a very high rate. Clark's Fever haven't had the same team success as Ionescu's number 1 seeded Liberty or Thomas's number 3 seeded Sun, but she has taken her Fever team from a 13-27 bottom dweller a year ago to a 20-20 record and the franchise's first playoff appearance since 2016. That improvement is squarely on her shoulders and shouldn't be discounted. Ionescu and Thomas have had killer seasons as well, but they have struggled since the Olympic break while Clark has thrived. When the games have mattered the most during the late-season playoff seeding race, Clark delivered.